You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. It is no secret whatsoever that LSU's most glaring Achilles heel is their secondary, and in particular, the cornerback position. Early in fall camp, we saw Ohio State transfer JK Johnson with his leg heavily wrapped and on one of those scooters, those little kneeling scooters, and had yet to get an update from Brian Kelly on J.K. Johnson's status. Well, we got that today. Here's what Brian Kelly said on the SEC Coaches Teleconference.
That's a long-term injury. The surgery was successful, but any chance of getting him back would be, sometime in December, maybe later. So I think that's what we're looking at right now.
So December or later. By the way, does anybody else have Brian Kelly's ringtone? Do you have that one we use? What's your ringtone?
It's just the standard.
Just the telephone ring?
Yeah.
The classic ring?
Yeah. Like the classic one that comes with the iPhone.
Call my number real quick.
All right, hold on.
If you would. Paulie, what's your ringtone? Do you have the one Brian Kelly does?
Mine's the default Apple one.
Yeah, that's what mine is.
The ring, just ringing? Or what's the default?
It was the one that was just playing.
Oh, you and Paulie and Brian Kelly have the same ring. Are you calling me?
I am.
So I just got a ring.
You have that one. Okay.
I just have a ring. Yeah, so okay. Anyway, Brian Kelly changing it up, or not changing it up a little bit there. Good on him. Whatever. You do you, BK. J.K. Johnson's one of the guys we've kind of forgotten about a little bit because he's been injured, and it's been a little out of sight, out of mind. And, boy, considering the issues LSU's had, it sure would have been nice to have had the opportunity to get J.K. Johnson back at some point this season, get him into the fold. I'll remind you, J.K. Johnson, while he was at Ohio State, played in 15 games a year ago and started 10 of them. So, started 5 of them. Forgive me, started 5 of the 15. And of the 15 that he played in during his 2 years at Ohio State. So let me say that another way. I fumbled that. Over his 2 years at Ohio State, he played in 15 games with 5 starts. He made those 5 starts a year ago on the team that went to the college football playoff. So J.K. Johnson was a productive player and was a really talented guy. And I know sometimes we're all guilty of it. You sort of get caught up in recruiting rankings and let that be your North Star. And that's kind of the case with Denver Harris, who I went back and checked was the number 23 overall prospect in his recruiting class. J.K. Johnson was number 54 in the country. Not cornerback, number 54 in the country. So he was an elite blue chip prospect as well. By comparison, Deuce Chestnut was 413, and Zy Alexander coming out of high school did not have a national ranking. So as much as we've sort of focused on the prospects of Denver Harris coming along and improving, I think J.K. Johnson is one that it's fair to wonder what if he were available. He was here in the spring when Deuce Chestnut was out. And so, how different is this conversation about the cornerback room if you have J.K. Johnson? Zy Alexander has been your best guy, and he's got one side locked down. That much we know, and we've talked about that plenty. The other side has kind of been the question. It looked like Deuce Chestnut was that guy all throughout fall camp, and then a week before the opener against Florida State, they decide, no, we're going to put Sage Ryan out there because he can really run and he tackles well. That was Brian Kelly's explanation. Well, first play of the game against Florida State, the Noles run a screen and Sage Ryan misses a tackle. It wasn't long after that Chestnut was in the game. So Ryan struggled, Chestnut goes in. Well, Chestnut got a pick in the first half, but the second half was a struggle. He got mossed by Keon Coleman, and it was just not good. He was just outmanned physically. So you went from Sage Ryan to Deuce Chestnut, boom, boom, just like that. Well, you go to the Grambling game, and then we see Denver Harris in there, and he probably gives up a touchdown as a PI. And so you go into the season with what you think based on your practice and what you've seen is your best path forward. And then now through 2 games, you sort of assess what you have, and what you have is Zy Alexander on one side, who's been far from perfect, but has been your best guy. And on the other side, you've tried Sage Ryan, Deuce Chestnut, Denver Harris, who have all had moments where they've struggled. And then you do have the young guys behind them. Ashton Stamps, of course, went in for Chestnut when he was injured against Florida State. Jeremiah Hughes made his college debut at corner this past weekend against Grambling. For what it's worth, Chestnut played one snap against Grambling. It was very clear they were using that as an opportunity to get other guys work to see what it may look like. Because with Chestnut, you got a more veteran guy. You know what his ceiling is. You know what his limitations are. So it was an opportunity to go get other guys work. We'll see what they choose to do. For me, and I always try to, that it's whenever I can, I always try to give you an opinion on the matter that we're discussing. So what would you do if I'm Matt House, if I'm Kerry Cooks, Robert Steeples, and you're putting together this secondary for this weekend? For me, I'm at the point where I gotta have guys on the field that are not going to bust coverages, that are going to be in the right position, because I feel like if you're in position to make the play, then Brian Kelly talked earlier this week about, raking through the basket is kind of what we talked about. So, like if you're a DB, you get your hand between the receiver's arms, try to rake the ball out, raking through the basket. Those are types of things you feel like with drills you can coach. I think about the touchdown that Major Burns, I know he's a safety, but the touchdown Major Burns gave up against Keon Coleman. He just got mossed by a better athlete. He was right there. The one in the back left corner of the end zone, the Deuce Chestnut gave up. He was on Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman is a great receiver, made the play. I think what you can't have right now is busted coverages that allow big plays. I want to know my guys are going to be in the right position, so that's who I trust right now. So whoever that is in this group, opposite Zy Alexander, that's the direction that you have to go. And eventually, what you hope is you can transition to guys that maybe have better athletic skill set as they get more comfortable. Maybe that's where they go with Denver Harris. But yeah, I think the example that we've often used, different position, is when it was DJ Welter and Kendall Beckwith at linebacker. Beckwith was so clearly the better athlete, but Welter was the guy who was right in the middle of the defense, made all the calls, knew where to be, was never out of position. He was just not the physical specimen that Kendall Beckwith was. But DJ Welter was a good college linebacker. It was just a guy better. And as soon as Kendall Beckwith caught up, it was like, all right, let's just take the training wheels off and let the kid go. They may get to that point in the secondary, but for now, I think the, air quotes, safer play is to have guys on the field that are going to be where they're supposed to be in those moments. So you have fewer busted coverage leading to big plays, because this team, this defense right now could ill afford to give up any of those. So we did learn officially JK Johnson out for the year, so no hope in reinforcements coming for the Tigers this season. You got what you got. Now go get them better. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.